Hey, 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 hey. How's the audio? Is the audio okay? Uh, Settings. I should have done this before I audio logic. Yeah, I think this is decent audio. I don't know. I've been confused by the audio. This is the audio from the webcam, and it's honestly it's okay, but there could be better. I have this thing, and I was using this for a while. This one gets really good if you hold it close, but then I don't know what's going on. Like this thing, it rattles kind of. Well, that's kind of this, but yeah, even like something about this is kind of like, well, that's not too rattly, but there's some like rattly shit that messes with the audio too. I eventually got to figure this out to try and get good audio for films. We could do a quick update on that, even maybe, because I'm trying to make a freaking movie. I got the minimalist script about the old man and the old woman, and I met some actors at a coffee shop, and neither of them were that right for the role. They weren't like bad actors even, but they were like not even right for the casting. And I going into it, I was like nervous about every step. I'm like, how do you even cast? How do you know if someone's right? But it's kind of funny. It's like sort of obvious. I realize like you'll know like if they're not right because there is something that a vision you kind of see in your head. But then it's like, oh, how nitpicky can you be? Can you break it a little bit? But they weren't right. So I was kind of like, that's the only two people like even applied kind of for the role, and neither of them were right for it. But in the coffee shop, there was a guy doodling in his notebook, an older guy, and I was like, "Hey, you're an artist. Oh, that's sweet." And he's like, "Yes." He's like had the deepest voice. I was like, "Dude, you'd be great for the role." So once they left, I told him, "I'm like, can I get your email?" And I'm like, "You ever act?" He's like, "I've done some things on stage." And so I sent the script to him, offered it to him. He actually passed on it, but I think he passed on it. I just have like my own like theory really, but because he was nice though. It was great meeting you, and I want to keep me abreast of the project. I want to follow it, but the role is just not right for me. And he had a shared email with his wife, and the role is an old man and an old woman who play husband and wife. And in the script it says she washes his feet as they're talking, and I was like, I don't think I'm actually going to do that, but it is kind of funny. It's like kind of ridiculous or whatever. But a lot of actors don't like that. If you have told me one guy earlier on, there was a possible. It's taken like 5 months to even cast it because I didn't even know. I'm learning as I go. I realized you could cast it better kind of by like fake it till you make it, borderline lying, but then I feel like a piece of shit doing that. So I haven't even done that yet. I've been honest. Like I've been like, I'm a first time filmmaker. This is a casual thing. We're just going to be, it pays a little bit, but we're just going to be hanging out, seeing if we can even make something halfway decent. And when you say that, people are like, yeah, but I could be like, new film production happening now, casting, blah, blah, blah. You could kind of fake being super professional, and then you do get a lot more responses. So I don't even know. But the original guy who came in, he wasn't quite right for the role either. But he was like, I got a thing about my feet. He's like, I'm not going to do that. So I could maybe do the role for you, but I'm not going to let some lady wash my feet. And I was like, okay. It's almost like writing it in as like a dare to even myself, because I'm like, I think what we'll shoot is she helps him take his boots off, and it's kind of like almost like a comedic-ish thing or whatever. I don't know. But what's up, everyone? Chimera, Edwin, David Springer, Richard Cahill. How's it going, Mike? How's it going, everyone? Uh, I'm kind of let me 15 people watching. Let me share. So I posted the link. The everything's live and going good. This is the eBay store. Richard Lasura, who's kind of a friend of the channel, he's helping me run it, and he's a great guy. And he kind of is well versed in all things eBay. He's kind of a collector. We kind of became corresponding kind of buddies pretty early from the Earthbound type stuff. He would buy books in semi bulk behind the scenes every time I launch one. And so eventually I was like, I need to give an opportunity for people to catch up. If this picture, I was on a film set for this one, whatever, um, in Iowa City. There was a bunch of fake cocaine. And I think there was at some point there was real cocaine going around. Classic stupid film stuff. Everyone wants to live the dream. So they all play the roles that they think it's like, and then you're kind of stuck in the middle of it. You're like, oh my God. Even people playing house, like faking being a real movie, they like do all they're like, we need cocaine. We should probably be doing cocaine right now because it's a movie. Uh, buy some books from Narwhal so we can afford heat. Yeah, check it out. I'm really bundled up right now. It's not even that cold. I'm actually a little hot, but this is my like pilgrimage attire, Percival style. I'm getting in character. I've been writing the Percival stuff lately. So there's some cool stuff offered. There's so much to talk about potentially. I also have the PDFs for the initial Narwhal trilogy, which is Earthbound Part 1, Part 2, Foreign Agent, and Nosferatu. And if you have one of those, I recommend you get the others. If you have two, I recommend you get the third. And then this is kind of one of the main purposes of this eBay store is to kind of get that original debut Narwhal trilogy if you haven't got it yet. That's the trilogy that kind of cemented my place in indie comics CG history. And definitely proud of those books. We'll read a little bit of them. I was re-looking at them. I haven't read some of these in a while. I'm like, I do like these. These are good. I'm at that point in my career now where I can make stuff that I actually like, which is fun. For years I made stuff that I hated. This Nosferatu cover is by Alejandro Mirabal. This is for the soft cover, which is actually out of print. Um, but but yeah, the hardcover is available on the campaign. So there's a few fun bonuses. There's only a few cave slaves, but people can pick those up. Um, Grand Prix not marked up at all, which is nice. John Millen's Graveyard Shift Supplemental 2. I have a 20-page short story one shot in this one that also kind of made a splash, and that was actually really fulfilling and fun working with John to do that. Um, and he's a good editor, and but it was fun because it was kind of a grind. Like he kind of reached out. I'd been bugging him like early CG days. I was like, hey, I'll do some work for you if you got anything. And we had for a little bit we were developing a werewolf project together, but I forget why, but I somehow wanted too much money in the deal. I wanted it to be 50-50 or something. He's like, I'll just write it myself. And I was like, okay. But that wasn't even like a fight necessarily. It was kind of like, I don't know what it was. But because we were still cool after that. And then after that, he's like, Narwhal, do you want to do a 20-pager in the supplemental book? And I was like, absolutely. And he's like, do you want to write it too? And I was like, hell yeah. And he's like, can you do it in 6 weeks? And he might have even said a month. I think he might have said 6 weeks. And I was like, yes, but that's fast. Like, but yeah. And so set out to do it. I did it in 4 weeks, I'm pretty sure. And John was very pleased with that. And that one too, that was in the kind of the booming days. I think that campaign hit 200,000 or more or something. So I got a big bonus for because he was handing out pretty good bonuses to the contributors. So my page rate ended up being really high and really nice for that work I did. Um, what's up, Angela Curry? How's it going? Cool teen. Where do I buy the digital? Chats, do not sleep on the sketchbook. They're some of my favorite possessions. I don't have digitals yet. I want feedback from the chat a little bit because I could potentially set that up. I was thinking about setting it up pretty soon. Of Earthbound. Actually, I will do this, but it won't be tonight. But it'll be like in like a potentially a matter of days, but maybe like a week or two. I'm gonna offer, I think, just Earthbound, maybe Foreign Agent, maybe Nosferatu. It'll just be like that initial trilogy. You can get them digital too, because it is a good idea, and I think like the price point will be like kind of fair for digital. Like it would be like it would actually be an okay deal, like maybe like $13 for each Earthbound, so you get the full story for $26. Um, and Foreign Agent, yeah, like it's a little bit longer, like maybe $16 for the Foreign Agent, because it's 192 pages, and Nosferatu would be a little bit cheaper because it's actually like 80 pages. But yeah, then that gives you the opportunity to kind of get the word out that way, like, because there is one of the reasons we kind of don't do digital sometimes. CG doesn't is a little bit worried about piracy, a little bit worried about oh, if they buy digital they won't buy physical, and it seems like most of the economy is in physical. But I have done it where I offer digital, and it's just that it's not that many people, but it is convenient for some people that if they just kind of want to read the stories but don't have a ton of money or whatever, or if it's like international shipping kind of thing. um so, and then the piracy thing is like you got to watch out, but I don't even know, like I don't think it's like all you can do is just tell people not to do that. And then in the end of the day too, actually, what's kind of crazy is Earthbound 1, um I offered a digital, and Earthbound 2 I didn't, but Earthbound 1 was digital, and it did get emailed around, and I would get some funny tweets. It was only twice, so it's not like a ton of times, but I got tweets of people being like, "My friend just gave me this comic to read, and he said it was great and out of nowhere, and I loved it, and blah blah blah. It's called Earthbound." And I was like, "Damn, that's like not exactly piracy, like that's fine, but I'm like that's like it's spreading word of mouth too, like that's kind of cool." So even that is like kind of okay, I guess. It's like the worst case scenario is it would be bummer if I don't know if somehow if you find out like it does like go viral, but everyone's reading it for free and you're still poor. That would be sad. But I don't think that's like really a reality. If it actually went viral to that point and it wasn't trickling down to the actual creator, um, I I imagine there's other ways where that would like get monetized even, or like even like maybe your YouTube channel blows up or something or whatever. Buy a space heater. Do it before winter. I have one. I've been running it. I'm nervous to see the heating or the bill for next month. We'll see how it goes. I actually turned it off, but I'm not even that cold. I'm just dressing up. I'm Percival right now. I'm like a knight of the round. A knight of the round. Snuggy Jr. All these books, good stuff. Snugs into us. Snugs, have you read all these? That's dope. Who are there any Narwhal completionists? I know there's a few on Twitter. I posted once. I was like, anyone post like a picture that you have all the Narwhal books, and I'll send you something special. And two people did that, and I was like, they did it right away too. I was like, oh, that's awesome. But yeah, so Graveyard Shift supplemental. That also has, I think, a kind of cool short story from John Malin that's like maybe his first foray into writing potentially. Um, and then the original Earthbound, only minorly marked up. This is the first printing, and they're all signed too, so they're pretty good, pretty valuable, cool books. The sketchbooks, these are marked up a fair amount, but there's only actually 10 of these each left. So like you could conceivably get sketchbooks 1, 2, and 3, which is all of them, and that includes the entire Nosferatu story, the initial version, because there were a few pages that got redrawn, so it's even like the very OG version, um, for 120. And I've given a few packs of that, like to people as kind of like bonus gifts. I'm like, ooh, this feels good. Feels like a valuable 3-pack. And if there's any that you're missing, you can just get them. And because we thought about packaging it all 3 together and for 120, but Richard's like, you should do it individually. I'm like, yeah. Interactivity, of course. Um, and there was a few, I don't know if they're listed yet. There's some alternate covers of interactivity possibly, but this one's always a great one to pick up. Narwhal nonfiction. 30 people watching, by the way, everyone. How's it going? We're going over the eBay store right now. There's some kind of interesting pickups, but the main two, the kind of main idea, even most of the feedback I got why I had to do this is like people being like, I missed Foreign Agent, sometimes by years. Foreign Agent was years ago. Earthbound was years ago. Nosferatu now 2 years ago. And they're so these older Narwhal books that kind of made a big splash at the time. People like come into CG, they missed all that, but they hear about it. They hear tell of these legends of these great books. Where can I find these great books? They ask me multiple times. I'm like, I don't even know. I don't know. I'm like, they're like, will it be on the next campaign? I'm like, to do that, I would have to make the most complicated campaign with weird add-ons, and fulfillment would be crazy. Ordering would be crazy. And so I was like, you know what I should do? I need to do an eBay store. And Richard's helping me with that, and that's awesome. Let me see what you guys are saying. Richard's here in the chat. What's up, Richard? There's nothing like holding it in your very own hands. Yeah, that's the, I guess, physical versus digital. And you probably there's probably like a funnel of digital to physical, like people might start digital, read it, like it, and then they're like, I actually do want to own a physical. I think I've done that before on Snuggie Jr. More money for heat. Thanks, Snuggie. But I know I'm over dramatic with this outfit. I've got multiple. I'm pretty snug though. Speaking of Snuggie, pretty snug as a bug. Anyone? Shadowhawk kit, or is that like, what is it, like a guy selling at an auction or whatever? Going once, going twice. Snuggie read them all. Nice. Snuggie's a completionist. Oh, the very first Earthbound floppy is all I'm missing. Yeah, that's too bad. There's almost none of those left. There's a few, but they're actually just sitting, like, I don't know, they're like not for sale yet. They're just sitting there, but someone sell me one. Except Earthbound 3. Angela, there is Grand Prix, but that's where is that? This one for $16. But I think the full, if you're waiting for the full trade, that will be coming soon. I'm working on Grand Prix 2 because Grand Prix will let you be 6 like double issues. So pretty big, awesome epic book, kind of like Earthbound 1 and 2 combined. Kind of feels like a movie if you put it all together. And Snuggie says, Cerberus is my fave so far. Hotel Story going to be great. Yeah, that's available too. That's still for sale. Obviously, will be open for a few more months. Crap, I got distracted by Snuggie's compliment, and I forget what I was saying. But I was saying, Grand Prix 2 is going to be sweet. I'm really excited to release it because even a lot of the feedback on Grand Prix 1, people are like, it's great, love it. It's set up. Everyone says it's set up, so be warned, but it's still great or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, that's true, it is set up. And part 2 is like a little bit less of that, a little bit more like, let's get into this, get this party started, let's get moving. And then part 3 is like that too. 1, 2, and 3 together will make a trade. That will be another good kind of like splash where I will feel pretty good about releasing that. Because one thing that's kind of come up that's a little bit interesting, this stream is a little bit like a retrospective kind of thing where we're looking back. I started Earthbound when I was about to turn 30. I had the script. It was sitting there for 3 years. I was 27 when I wrote it. Then when I was about to turn 30, I was like, shoot, I got to like start a big project or else my life won't, like, I'll be looking back and I won't have anything to show any meaning in my life or whatever. And so I was like, okay, this is the one thing I wrote that isn't terrible. Let me see if I can turn this into a comic. I start that process basically when I turn 30. So, and I'm 37 now, so it's been 7 years. So 7 years going hard in the paint at this comics thing. Got multiple books. If you count Narzac, I'm up to like 12 books or something like. And a lot of these books are long too, or huge. And it's gone pretty well, and you just wonder where it's gonna go to. You just want to keep going, keep growing, keep spreading the word. keep trying to get people to spread the gospel of Narwhal, whatever. Um, what was I was gonna say something is like, I don't know. Uh, I don't know. I'm you know how do I was like, how do I even put this? You know how Taylor Swift has the Swifties and what's her face has like the little monsters. So if I had if I had anyone, what would they be called? And then if because sometimes I see like there is almost a strategy of like helping. How do you put this? I was like, did I fall into? It's not a where you could be like a cult, a cult classic or a cult creator where you have niche appeal, but the people who do like you really like you. You know what I mean? Like, so that's cool. And I think I'm there. Like, so then the question is, okay, how do you get to more mainstream? And there's ways that the cult thing it kind of pigeonholes you a little bit. Like, and so escaping it, you need the help of the little monsters. And the way and it's not what you'd think, I think, because I've seen like sometimes I've noticed if it's like I don't know if someone who's really in my corner, this is all super appreciated whenever it happens, but I might see them and they'll if they're like I don't know, kind of like being like even I don't know, it's even like Mark Miller or something being like Mark Miller, you got to read Narwhal, support Narwhal, show Narwhal, like read his stuff, you'll really like it. I don't know if there's too much. I'm like real nervous about that. Him like hate like kind of like being like like the little monsters, and I think that's part of why what the cult thing they kind of stay cult. I'm like, what if you go your whole career being cult? I'm like, so I want to break more and more mainstream if I can. Cerberus is a little bit of that, and I'm going to keep trying Grand Prix, um, Grand Prix also, and there's a few more things coming up where I'm like, this is freaking mainstream. I'm pretty sure, and I don't know. Like Ethan talks about being undeniable. I'm like, I think I got some things coming up that are kind of undeniable. But I almost think like this early stuff is undeniable. But but the early stuff's pretty cool. Thinking of it as a trilogy and a debut trilogy kind of thing, it's kind of fun. Um, but so anyway, I think I've noticed. I'm trying to remember. I get also kind of how it works is like word of mouth definitely helps, and it's kind of the only way indies can spread kind of is with word of mouth. But then you're like, oh, it can almost work against you if somehow you get your fandom and people start like getting annoyed by your fandom because if they're like, I don't know how that would work exactly. But I think the way that's the best if people are, and maybe this is obvious, but it's just like kind of being positive and not pushy at all is like the way to do it. So Narwhal's little monsters, take note that like if you're tweeting Mark Miller, don't be like Mark Miller, you should read this. Like read this. Check Narwhal stuff out. You'll love it. Even maybe that works. I don't know. But I'm like, does it annoy Mark Miller? Then he will never check it out. I think just being to Mark Miller, like I'm a big fan of Narwhal's stuff, and you might also enjoy it. I don't know. People, it's like all about incepting, and it unfortunately it is a little bit about leveling up. Like this is oh yeah, this is like kind of unfortunate. I think this is reality, but even the level ups I've had in my career so far, there was a big one because of your boy Zach, and a big one kind of because of Ethan. And both times it's like you have people with a big audience that kind of help you, and they usually will help you, kind of because they like your stuff or whatever. But you almost do need like that. It's like pull you almost it seems pretty hard to just do it yourself. I don't even know how that works. And that's something I think about too for me helping other people come up behind me. You don't ever I heard a term once they call it like pulling the ladder up behind you. Yeah, I definitely never want to do that. And I sometimes notice if it seems like if people above me are doing that, I don't like that either. But I'm trying to remember. There was something where I was like, that's almost like pulling the ladder up behind you. Um, and sometimes it's like just the state of the industry. That would be like an indirect way of like kind of letting the industry die before people get a real chance to like make a splash in it. That's like, I got a chip on my shoulder from some of that. So from some of it's like the pros right before me who just didn't. They like, I don't know. They kind of just sat by and watched the entire industry go to shit, and some of them were talking shit to me as it was happening or whatever. That's crazy, crazy. I tell you. Let me catch up with the chat. What are you guys saying? Wrench Snuggie, foreign agent. Yeah. 1 second here. So I think I can update it and it might tell us if we've sold 3 items sold. So no sales yet. Oh, but look at Cerberus got listed. These Cerberus, $23. These are lightly damaged, and by lightly I mean it's kind of like barely, but they work perfectly for reading copies, like more than perfectly. But you wouldn't want them if that's going to be like your collector's copy or whatever. Then kind of don't disregard. But I don't have Angela. I don't have the YouTube stream open, so I can't wrench people. I'll do it in a little bit though. Richard Lesueur. There's only one more copy of the softcover Cave Slave left. Okay, so that might sell tonight potentially. One left of these. Oh, picked up Tiger Blue 2 Unsung. Nice. So yeah, because that's another thing. Fowler, who's a good guy, and he put together a cool team for Tiger Blue. It's like me, Vaughn, Sweetcast, and Mike Barron, and I think that's it. I'm trying to remember, but yeah. So I did a 20-page short, like one shot in that also was really fun to do. Turned out great. Yeah, that's a great fun book. Tiger Blue 3 is funding now, and that one sounds awesome too. So that's a kind of a cool trilogy that Fowler's doing. Tiger Blue 3 is like, it's like down to the wire on if it'll get funded. So hopefully that one will get funded. 30 people watching. How's it going, everyone? I meant Grand Prix. Oh, that's it. I want that. Sorry, I got confused. I'll get it. Noise. Thanks, Angela. Yeah, pick it up. Pick these up tonight. I wonder, are you guys backing these now? Because then I'll update. I want this number to go up. I'm like 3 items. 3 items sold. Maybe it's just not updating yet. Nosferatu hardcover, the Cerberus movie script, Foreign Agent. This is one, obviously, of the original trilogy. This is actually the second printing, which is a slight improvement because the first printing was pretty tight in the spine. It was still readable, but it was like just a little bit tight. And this one is a lot more well spaced, well printed. And yeah, just second printing. I think there's maybe 10 or so available, and then everything, it will be like sold out at that point. And then me and Richard got to think about like, do we want to like reorder new books and keep it at like, and at what rate to kind of keep it stocked. But it also kind of lets me measure like kind of like the interest, and if something sells out right away, like if the Earthbounds or Cerberus or whatever, then we're like, okay, the demand seems to be with that book right now or whatever. 32 people watching. How's it going, everyone? Thanks for being here. We'll go over some of these comics in a little bit. We're kind of just hanging out. Here's the Grand Prix Matt Cosson cover. This one's a lot of fun. No markup on this one at all. Just go ahead and pick it up. Go ahead and pick that one up right there. Earthbound hardcover, if you want any hardcovers. So, and the Shorts Compendium to that one is like slightly unsung potentially. I don't know. Like, I think it had 500 backers or so, the campaign. I'm like, so it's because it's a short story collection. It's like the least high selling of all my books, but I'm like, it's still awesome. I love it. I think people will really enjoy it if you back it. No one will regret getting that one. Hardcover, Foreign Agent, short stories. So yeah, and then yeah, because Nosferatu is out of print, so that's one that like we'll see how the demand goes for that. Speaking of that too, there's a lot of vampire scripts popping up, and I'm like, yo, I did it. I got one too, and mine's better than yours. Every time I see a vampire script, that's what I think. Or a vampire comic. But Nosferatu hardcover is still available, and they're $85, so they're like a little marked up or limited item. Really high quality, cool book. A lot of fun, these ones. So definitely consider picking that up. Hardcover Cave Slave, those are pretty rare. There's only like 50 of those or something that got printed. That one's kind of cool because it's a hardcover for a 20-page book. So it's like, it kind of feels like a children's book, the way children's books would feel sometimes. Faye, I can't wait to pick up Earthbound and Grand Prix. Nice, thanks, Faye. Yeah, some people, they kind of discovered or got into my stuff, yeah, just like a few years down the line or whatever. So then you got to go back if you want to check out the early stuff. And a lot of these are like tried and true. Like you won't be disappointed with Earthbound. I'm really happy with it and proud of it, and glad to get it out to anyone who will want to read it. We all become fish out of water. Cool teen. Books under the table. Yeah, that I was doing that here and there before the eBay store, and I'm like, I can't always do this. I can't necessarily keep doing this. Swifties for Narwhal. Yeah, maybe what if our term is the Swifties? That's kind of funny. Like Narwhal's fans are also called Swifties. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to try and make that stick. But that's the thing. If you try and make it stick too hard, then it doesn't stick. That's what she said. The Narwhal crew. Swifties for Narwhal. The Nards. Nards is pretty good. Sketchbooks or the omnibus? Yeah. Fanta. The Bread Eaters. Narwhal Cult. I can see Cerberus mainstream. I might be behind on the chat. Yeah, I'm scrolling. I'm catching up. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Cerberus Part 2. I had a funny writing problem came up with Cerberus because I'm getting Part 2 ready, and there was one thing that's bugging me that I'm like, is this like too much suspension of disbelief? But it's kind of a spoiler to discuss, so I guess I can't. But I fixed it. I found a solution, and it was really fun because it was kind of a simple. Because I had thought I might have to rewrite a whole scene, and I was willing to do that to get around this one kind of element that might stretch suspension of disbelief a bit too much. And I ended up thinking of a solution that was kind of like more elegant or whatever. It's always fun when that happens. You're like, sweet. 2-ton Landwell's harem. For real, though. For real. If you ain't buying books, you need to be super chatting this, man. Yeah, we're just hanging. Yeah, so this is a little bit like a Narwhal retrospective. We can see my body of work for 7 years is pretty much all here. And specifically, because I was thinking I call it the Narwhal debut trilogy, which is Earthbound, Foreign Agent, and Nosferatu. And then I kind of was grouping the second trilogy after that. But I don't even know, because I got a few in the works, and there's kind of like a lot of collaborations coming out now, and then Grand Prix and a few, like a few that I was saying that I feel like I'm trying to make them quote unquote undeniable. There's one for that it's just a script. It's story by me and Mike Murphy, and then I did the script, and I'm gonna have Monica draw it, and it's a Hollywood cult, satanic cult story, and it's only 100 pages, so it's half as long as like my usual like Narwhal joint is like full movie feel kind of thing, and they're usually like 200 or more pages, 200 to 300. This one's 100, so it's like a little bit shorter. It's like the movie equivalent would be like it's like a 50-minute episode of a TV show rather than a full movie. But that one, I just can't wait for that one to like get out and get released. And at that point, if I'm like regarded as a cult classic, like, and kind of the mainstream still kind of ignoring me, I would be like, yo, slap that one on the table. I feel like that a little bit about Grand Prix too, though. But so yeah, we got some stuff coming up. Dilly, I bought a book. Yeah, I wonder if it says 3 items sold. Is it just updating slow? Or back? What if I go like this? Yeah, I don't know. But you can click to follow the seller, save seller here, I think. So everyone do that if you get a chance to. Buy up that drip. I just bought Foreign Agent and Cerberus. Nice, thanks, Robert. Man, that's cool. Yeah, what is the second trilogy? It's Cerberus and the Shorts Compendium, and then I'm working on Gold West, which is a Western collaboration. Hotel Stories, a collaboration. I think I have the 3 collaboration trilogy, which that's kind of delayed. Then there'll be another trilogy to pair with, or Grand Prix. So Grand Prix is like one Earthbound, one movie-ish, artsy fartsy minimalist style book, which is like Foreign Agent, and then one like kind of outside the box use of the comic medium that might be horror themed. I don't know if I'll actually repeat that, but that's like the original debut trilogies. Like Nosferatu is like a pretty direct adaptation of the silent film, which is kind of interesting. Don't mind me. I'm just botting. Are you a bot, Crisis? Cool to see a Narwhal story without Narwhal art. Yeah, that one's fun. Working with Jose Garcia. He was great to work with too. Yeah, but a lot of people are saying that they bought some books, and the number is still saying the same. So I wonder, Richard might be able to tell me, Richard, if you're watching and you can see the sales come in real time, you can give me an update. He says, maybe click on the individual book listings. Some of the back covers are real great. Oh, yeah. Like if I click, what is it? Does it show both sides? Cool. Yeah. And I haven't even said this yet. Every order because a lot of this is based on like what I have accumulated over the years, my excess kind of storage stuff. And I have a bunch of these Nosferatu postcard prints. So we're giving those away while supplies last, but there's like hundreds of them left. So those are for free. You get that and a sketchbook. I think it was called the Megaton sketchbook. It's like 16-page zine style with some of my sketches in it. One free of those also, which is like really nice. So and the shipping on eBay is a little cheaper than Indiegogo. So these are all signed. So all those things combined is like, this is a pretty sweet deal going on. Some good stuff. Fill out your collections. I got Cave Slave. Yay me. Thanks, Angela. The Nards. The Nuge from the Nards. Yeah, because the Nards give the Nuge. Do you guys know what the Nuge is? That's like if you guys boost, if someone comes on my channel and we boost their campaign a bit, that's called the Narwhal Nuge. The Nuge from the Nards. The Narweenies. The Narweenie Nuge. I don't know about that. The Nudes from the Narge makes me laugh. The Nuge from the Nards. I'll be a Nard. Yeah, so yeah, if you're a Nard, help spread the word. Our goal is to break out of cult classic status to go mainstream, but we can't badger people necessarily because I don't know. Earlier in my career, I would have fantasized about that. What if I had some Nards just badgering people to read my books? I would just love that. I would gobble it up. Blah, 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 blah. I'd motorboat it. But that I've seen it. I don't know. I've sensed it. Even actually, it happened once with Ethan. Someone was like, "Ethan, you got to help Narwhal close out. Aren't you going to help him close out? Narwhal's about to close. Aren't you going to help him?" And which is, I don't know, even that's nice, but I could sense Ethan was annoyed by it. And so I DM'd him. I'm like, sorry if people are bugging you. I don't it's, I don't care whatever happens. And he's like, oh, I was going to help you anyway. So I don't know why they're blasting me. And I was like, I didn't tell them to do that. And they weren't blasting, but that's an interesting, it's this balance. So this is my new vision, is to have the Nards be so well balanced that we just finesse our way into the mainstream, straight up, and nothing with many a strat available. What do you say? Nothing is too what we will use CIA tactics. Just kidding. Buy the sketchbooks and the short stories and smoke some fucking weed and enjoy. Yeah, thanks, cool teen. Yellow Narwhal submarine. The Fiends. Richard, we got 5 more orders. Nice. Thanks, Richard. That's awesome. And thanks, everyone. But you say 5 more. Did I miss a message from Richard before? There was, or 5 before the 3. So there's 8 total orders now, which is sweet. Inspired by the Saint Mel video. And what, is there a new Mel Gibson video? I need to see it. I haven't seen it. Impressive body of work. Thanks, Michael. For reals though, that debut trilogy, I'm telling you. Yeah, I don't know. I go through phases too where I'm I don't know. I get defensive of my art style, because that's one thing people might cite as why it's more relegated to cult classic status and not the mainstream, is my art. And I'm like, yes, but maybe not though. Maybe the opposite. Maybe it's awesome. Today I was thinking, one thing for sure Narwhal fulfills. I'm okay. She didn't have a stroke while typing. Yeah, actually, I have a chimney, but it's been decommissioned and drywalled over. But I might figure that out and get that going at some point. Picture a 1970s drive-in double feature of Earthbound and Foreign Agent with epic trailers for Robozan and Cave Slave in between. For reals, a lot of my books are like movies, and they kind of lean into that. That's not even that can be a sort of a negative thing if people say oh, it's like a Netflix pitch. I'm like, well, the thing about that is that's true, and that is a bad thing, or it kind of plagues a lot of modern comics. But if your comic is like a movie, you say it's quote unquote cinematic, because for a while that was actually a good thing too. We were in the early 2000s or something. Everyone was bandying around the word cinematic as more of a positive thing. But it does just matter, okay, if it's like a movie, is it like a good movie or is it like a bad movie? Because if it's like a bad movie, like a terrible Netflix pitch, whatever, yeah, that's like the worst. But if it's like a good movie, by all means, like I love that stuff. And that's kind of what I do. And I love to read it too when I come across it. All orders get freebies. 8 orders. 8. Nice. So we're at 8. Let's get a few more. Let's get to 10. Let's get double digits. EVS was saying how much he loved you 2 days ago and is hoping you knew. Nice. Yeah, I do feel pretty good about me and Ethan's relationship. One thing about it, and it's a little bit like this with John Malin too, is we kind of go way back, like whatever. We just, is that all you say? We just go way back. So I'm not too worried. Uh, more John than Ethan. Like if John's like, sometimes if I feel like he's like mad at me or something, I'm not too worried because we go way back. So a new collaboration with Zach. Um, yeah, where there is some new Narzak stuff in the works. 2 projects, but we actually schedule sometimes if you count like everything we talk about maybe doing. There's like 5 things, but there's 2 that are kind of really getting ready to go. One that's like a few years off, but that would be the Princess of Mars one that he's talked about in the past, but he hadn't quite got it going. And that one's far enough in the future; it's still not guaranteed. But that's like one we're definitely thinking of semi seriously here. Abra's here. What's up, Abra? Out of all your books, which one would you like to turn into an animated movie or series? That's a good question. Like, I've had kind of fantasies along those lines for all of them, but it's funny. I don't know. Like some of it, like almost Earthbound, but Earthbound is kind of weird in a really fun way that makes it kind of good as a comic. So I kind of like that it exists as a comic. If I ever did a movie of it, I would want it to be live action with puppets, and like Blogart would be a puppet, and you wouldn't like address it or talk about it, but he would just be a puppet. Some of the aliens would be puppets, and I that I might have the opportunity at some point to do that, and I totally would. But Cerberus would be good, but uh, Foreign Agent would be good, but it has a double. It has a language barrier that makes it kind of hard. But I actually had a friend reach out, who's now a friend, but a gentleman reach out kind of early in the days of Foreign Agent, and he's like, "Hey, let me like develop this as a movie with you?" And he has a filmmaker friend, and they're storyboarding it, and they're going to try and make it a movie. But that process is slow. It's been going like 2 3 years, but I'm just letting it sit. I'm like, yeah, you know, it's all yours if you can pull that off. I might if that happens, I would. It's out of the U.S. I would fly to where they are and kind of. Actually probably wouldn't direct it, but I would help on the set. But I have that one movie going now, the low budget movie, and that I feel more and more like I might be able to like legit finish that, and I actually would have a movie under my belt, and so that would be kind of fun. But the only problem is it might suck. But I was gonna finish that story, so I want to finish that casting story really fast. So the one guy passed who seemed like he would have been perfect. He passed possibly because of I think he wasn't a fully professional actor. He just done little things here and there, and it might have been kind of weird to like, oh shit, I gotta like let this woman that I don't even know wash my feet and shit. And so I think that's kind of why he passed. But then there was a couple other people who had applied, and at that point I was kind of downtrodden slightly, so I told the woman who was helping me cast it, I was like, just have them mail in a video of reading some lines. I don't want to meet anyone, but just do a video audition. And I got one response from that, and that guy looked pretty close to the character. And I guess he's an inexperienced actor, and yeah, his acting was not the greatest. And so I was kind of thinking like, should I just still, because if I don't go with him, it kind of goes on the back burner and I would like failed to have cast it. But I'm like, well, I could, maybe possibly still just work with him, and maybe it's not the greatest movie, but then you get the experience. Um, but because there's a woman who's lined up to cast too, but she's fairly professional, or maybe not even fairly, she's quite professional, and she wants like to work with someone who's professional too. So it might be slightly mismatched. But I ended up deciding like I'll just give the guy some feedback and see if he can like kind of improve his performance. And it did improve slightly, still not quite there. But then I was like, you know what? We're kind of doing this. So I asked him, like, are you down to kind of like go back and forth and sink some time into this almost as a hobby with you and me trying to develop this character and maybe make this a short film or whatever? And he was like, absolutely. I was like, all right. So me and him are going to meet up next week, and we're going to do a reading and film some auditions, and I'm going to work with him kind of intensely. We're going to talk about the character and everything, and we're going to get an actual good audition out of him. And then I'm going to send that to the woman, and if she's still pumped, then we will make that movie. So that'll be cool. But sorry, so to answer the question though, I right now it is Hotel Story. And then I got a thing where I sometimes just really like other people's stuff. And I don't know what we say about this. It's like I kind of try and channel a little bit of like Walt Disney kind of stuff where it's not about me. Like I'm not. It doesn't have to even be my book. Like Jared's working on, the guy who helped me with Hotel Story. He's working on a book right now that sounds amazing, and I'm like, honestly, might want that to be a movie before anything that I've done. And then same with Brendan Swan. I hired him to write a script, and it was so amazing. I'm like, this would be such a fun movie, and I would almost want that more than anything I've done. And me and Jared are writing two more scripts, and as I keep going, it's interesting because I feel like I would have thought I sort of peaked a little bit, like I was almost on top of my game writing wise. Like say with Cerberus, like Cerberus is like more or less kind of a perfect script for what it is. Pretty fun little like mystery movie with lots of fun characters and adventure and lots of good setups and payoffs and twists and set pieces and action. And you when you guys see part two, like I can't wait for some of the stuff that's in it that's so fun. um and I don't even know if I'm like underestimating it, because like maybe people will say, oh yeah, this is the best, and it is like an instant classic or whatever. But I'm like, I love that one, but I kind of feel like I've leveled up when I did Grand Prix, but I don't even know what it was, because it's a little bit like getting away from the setups and payoffs, the hero's journey, the 3 act structure. It's getting into the more weird stuff, and I'm writing stuff now like the Percival script that I'm super excited about, and even the Eclipse, for example, the Eclipse one that I wrote with Mike Murphy. So that's a 100-page one that does this thing, and that one wouldn't necessarily make a great movie. It's kind of meant to be a comic, but there are things that you kind of start to appreciate about it as you, because other stuff I've done, like I almost feel like, all right, I did kind of the standard perfect little movie. Like I kind of feel like Cerberus is a little bit like that. And like, where do you go from there? I'm like, well, with Eclipse, it's it's 3 timelines, and possibly even 4. I think there's the imaginary timeline of the TV show, behind the scenes at that time of the TV show, and then there's the real life, and then there's the future real life. So 3 timelines, 10 years down the road, where the actress is all washed up. And those 3 timelines weave in a way where they quote unquote rhyme, like the way George Lucas was saying it, like it's like poetry, it rhymes. But if you have it rhyme, one of the big problems with doing that is it can be redundant. And if it's redundant, that is actually terrible. That's like really boring. It's almost like the worst thing you could ever do. But if you can make it rhyme without being redundant, like that in itself is almost like a paradox. So good luck. But I did it on that script, so I just can't wait for people to see. I'm like, that's when I'm like I want to show that script to like Alan Moore or something. Be like, Alan Moore, eat your heart out, bitch. They say you're the best, motherfucker. I rhymed without being redundant. uh, so anyway, when that one comes out, that's going to be undeniable. And then game on. But maybe just Grand Prix even. Is the cover art in Cerberus movie script by Narwhal? Yeah. Yeah, this is one of my early sketches of Lee, the main dog. Will there be more issues of Cave Slave? I think, but it's kind of back burner a little bit. I mention it to Vaughn once in a while. And the thing is, Vaughn co-owns it. So it kind of has to be, right timing, and we both figure out the business and that we're both comfortable with, and even the work investment kind of stuff. I don't think I have Foreign Agent. Maybe pick that one up too, Angela. You already supported though. Glad I can catch on our live stream and listen. Thanks, Aldion. We got to stream sooner or later. I always say that, but we did. We caught a stream a few weeks ago and it was fun. Cerberus looks Disney-like. I'm hot and heavy for more Narwhal. Yeah, there will be more stuff for this year. There was 3 crowdfunding campaigns packed in one year. That's kind of a lot. And I'm even trying to remember going back. Like, what was it? It was Cerberus, Grand Prix. Was it Cerberus this year? I think it was Cerberus, Grand Prix, and Hotel Story. So that's kind of a packed year. And next year will be relatively packed as well. So we'll see how it goes. I definitely can't wait to get Grand Prix 2 to you guys. I would like to see Earthbound as an animated series. Yeah. Yeah, me and Jared, we're working on an animated short, and it's just a short story that he wrote that's really great and really fun and perfect. Works as like a short cartoon. So, and we learned a lot from doing the trailer for Hotel Story. So that'll be a good like second thing to really apply what we've learned. Hope we're going to try and make something relatively professional, but even that, like maybe then after that's professional. But I'm like, eventually he and I, we might try and start trying to make a feature film, and I'm not sure what it would be. We're still kind of thinking about that, throwing possibilities around. Copped Cave Slave, Floppy, Grand Prix A, movie script, and Robozan. Nice. Thanks, Cool T. Cool team. That's sweet. We're getting some sales. Abra got a dash. See you later, Abra. Thanks for stopping by. Kitaru, everyone check out Vaughn's new book. I'm going to have Vaughn on and we'll promote it at some point. I've been meaning to, but it's been a little busy the past few weeks. Whose channel's creative block on? Jake's. Tomorrow. The shorts. Weren't the short stories this year too? Yeah. Does that mean it was 4 books this year? Narwhal is the creative of the year in my heart. Yeah, I don't think I got nominated for, if we're talking about the chat awards or whatever. I got nominated for best writer, and I think Cerberus. Cerberus came out this year. That was probably the one that would garner that award if I did win it. So feel free to vote for me for that. But that one too, it had like 600 backers. That one, it's like, I don't think everyone, if whatever it was timing or economy or whatever, I think more people want to read that than have it. Like, it hasn't even reached its full, like, guaranteed there's like hundreds of people that would love that book that haven't had a chance to buy it yet. But there are these 10 copies here. So pick them up if you get a chance. If you missed it, Cerberus is a great one to check out. Vote early, vote often, vote for Narwhal. Yeah. You know something crazy? I think it's the chat is the they've been doing it since like the beginning. I don't know, maybe 2020 was the first one. And that was the year I put out Foreign Agent and I won Best Writer. Uh, so I've won one of those awards. I won the first one. And then after that, it's like political. They're just giving everyone their turn. But everyone knows. Just kidding. Holidays Are Coming by Earthbound. Cool. So we've gone over these. We've chatted a lot. We've talked a little bit about the history with nothing crazy, but just kind of like look at it. Look at the body of work. It's kind of cool. One nonfiction book that I'm pretty proud of. This is arguably my best-selling book too. I don't keep too specific numbers, but I'm like, it's over 1,000 sales on Interactivity. And that's a good one to have. I'm working on my next nonfiction. I'm kind of excited about it. It's going to be called The Inspirational Pocketbook, but I'm trying to decide if it's like kind of outside the box essays or just like lists or both. Like one essay I was thinking about writing is the paradox of the deal with the devil, because that's kind of a thing related to art, is like, that is like the original kind of legend almost, is like you sell your soul to the devil and then you get really good art skills or you get famous or whatever. And there's some funny paradoxes within that of like of it kind of being a metaphor even. And like, so one aspect is whether or not you believe it. So you kind of have to believe it for it to kind of take effect. And if you don't believe it, then there is no real deal with the devil. Is that what I was saying? But basically, one of the kind of ideas is that like Sean Gordon Murphy putting a lesbian and making it lame, like the South Park episode, that is a deal with the devil. Like he's deliberately compromising what he knows would be better to try and get rich and famous, to kind of get the Netflix deal or whatever. So the idea being in that case, like, don't take the deal with the devil. But if you're sitting there and you're trying to decide, like, say you're not famous and you're pretty good at art, and then you're like, this is what's interesting about it is like the deal with the devil does exist. That's what I'm saying. Is that's kind of part of my argument. And whether or not that the devil exists, it's whether or not you believe it or whatever. So say, you're an artist who is good at art, not famous yet, and you could make a deal with the devil, and that would be like you could say out loud, like, Satan, if you help me get famous, I will like worship you or whatever. And so say you say that, and then you don't know what would happen after that, but whether or not you believe it. So if you believe it, you know what the deal with the devil is. The deal with the devil is you put a lesbian in your story, and then like when people start knocking on your door, you're open to like prostituting yourself in various ways, physically and mentally, and selling out. You're open to all that, and you just want the end justifying the means of the comfortable life, however that plays out. If it's rich and fame, accolades, kind of stuff. And then it's funny that almost goes with the idea that like accolades are almost inherently tied with the deal with the devil, and they are like, try and think of an accolade that's not tied to the deal with the devil. Like, what would you get so the opposite of like if you don't take the deal with the devil but still believe in it. So say you still believe the deal with the devil is a thing and you deliberately don't take it. That's almost like me, whatever. Then you're like cult classic indie creator, sticking to your guns, keeping your principles. And you might not get famous. You might not get rich and famous. But I don't know. Because then I'm like, well, because if it's like quantum physics, like alternate realities or whatever, it's like, what if I took a deal with the devil? You could still not get famous, maybe. But part of that is whether or not you believe it. It's just like the second that you know what it means, the fact that you know what it would entail means that it does exist. And you know what to avoid then too. And basically you can like stick to your principles, which is kind of good. So anyway, there might be an essay about that in the Inspirational Pocketbook. Angela Curry is my favorite moderator. Sean Gordon Murphy is disappointing. I would love to do another stream. We'll have to get Dragon's Bane again because he can introduce Narwhal books to a larger audience. Oh yeah, that'd be sweet. Eastman and Laird laughed themselves to sleep every night. Yeah, I wonder if they took a deal with the devil or not. Probably not. You may get love bombed if you claim you're non-binary. So we've been going an hour. We're just talking about, we're showing this the shop. Everyone follow it, so you can get it and help spread the word too. If anyone mentions like, oh, I want to read some old Narwhal, you guys can help me tell them like, oh, this is where you go, the Narwhal comics. For me, I just Google, if you Google Narwhal comics eBay, it comes up, which is kind of nice. Like it's pretty easy to find. But I actually might not end the stream just yet. But we will have to end it soon. I got a stream actually at 8 with I'm promoting a book, but a little promotion stream. But so at some point I got to get off and get ready and then do that. But I did want to maybe just take a look at some of these books. Maybe we'll read a few of them. I don't know. So yeah, we can. Earthbound. This is the second printing. This was the cover of the second printing. It's kind of like the Earth is a ball and chain. Earthbound has two meanings. That's why I like it as a title, because it's you're bound to Earth or you're bound for Earth. And it kind of comes up in the lore that I'm sort of building. There's like these 3 temples, and it's Earth, Wraith, and Terra, which are all anagrams of Earth. And so the one temple is like in Earth, which I haven't even gotten to. That's not even in Grand Prix. That'll be like the next one. It might be. I don't know if it's in the Earth Center. I don't know about that yet. But and then if it's a little bit in Grand Prix, but this isn't a spoiler. But if you die and there's no like whatever, like your reincarnation ring hasn't been paired with a female piece to like kind of reclaim you, then your default is you go back to kind of the bonded spot of where you were born, of one of these 3 temples. And so you kind of find out some people are earthbound, some people are wraithbound, some people are terra bound. And so then that's kind of like part of it. And I think that because eventually with Earthbound, there's going to be a third story. There's the original, which is fully out. You can read it all, and it's great. It's kind of just like a fun story, but it talks a lot about the Grand Prix. And then the one I'm working on now is all about the Grand Prix. Then I have a bunch written that's called The Gaps, because Grand Prix takes place 4 years after the events of the first book. So The Gaps is another 300-page story, but it's a little more episodic. It's actually not like a movie. It's a little bit more like a mini series detailing, just like short stories that happened in between, checking in with every character. But there are some big sweeping narratives to it that are pretty fun. And that's called The Gaps, which isn't even drawn yet, but it is written. And that's going to be, I'm actually really excited to get that out. Like, I'm really pumped on that. So that would be 3 huge books at that point. Each book would be like 2 trades. So that's 6 trades total. And then there's going to be a final book, which will be 2 trades, which I just have the idea, but I haven't written it yet. And I think that one, like, it'll have a lot of the fun Earthbound adventure stuff, but it actually might get pretty trippy at the end. Maybe that will be a volume all itself, but I'll figure out at the end. Trying to think of like what the ideas that kind of might be happening with it. And then there might be an absolute prequel to Earthbound. So total would be 9 trades thick, the entire Earthbound saga. And it will take me like 10 years to do it, but not crazy. And that'll be a pretty cool body of work kind of thing, like this big, that would be my big epic thing. But I'm working on like Percival now, and I love that. I'm writing some stuff with Jared that I'm like super excited about. So I'm still in the phase where I think I'm like whatever, making stuff that I'm like really, really happy and glad to be working on. It doesn't feel like I'm dipping yet. I don't know when that'll happen for as far as writing goes. And it could almost be like I was talked about this with some people. It's like it's not even necessarily that you dip. It might be that you just do everything you wanted to do. Um, so we'll see how that goes. But I want to be able to put out quite a bit of fun, awesome stories. Yeah, I know, but the only good news with that too is I think the Gaps and Grand Prix, which is all written, that will be coming out relatively regularly. Like even especially obviously Grand Prix. But I'm trying to get maybe another artist to work on the Gaps, and then it'll be going extra fast and I don't know. Earthbound, it almost could be like a series at some point. I could try and break it down and do it through Diamond. The first issue, we'll read the first issue of Earthbound here. It might take like 20 minutes. Maybe we'll do that. Snuggie, launch them now. I can't. I gotta get further along and then you launch it. But yeah, let's try reading this. Let me see how this works. I gotta turn this so the audio picks up. Turn on this light. It might be better without that light. I don't know. I could shade it. But then I'm talking. Whatever. Part 1. 4 years ago, I've been shipwrecked, washed up on a beach, on a planet with pink aliens. Earth. Damn. No sign of the others. That's good. The ship, or a piece of it. I'm stuck here. Maybe I can conquer it. Earthbound. Bow. 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 Present day. Tap, tap, tap. Clunk, 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 clunk. Pete, did you interview a kid who claims to be from another planet? Pause. Pete, aka Blowguard. I'm transcribing the piece now, actually. This is purely tabloid stuff, though. Print journalism is alive and well at the West High Bugle, I see. I was going to publish via special edition flyers, but I ran out of wheat paste. Thank God for that. So this is a series, right? How many students has it been? 12 so far. It's a bit of a zeitgeist. It's definitely my journalistic responsibility to document it. You shouldn't encourage them. Just don't publish as nonfiction. That would be irresponsible. And I'd like to read a copy when you're done. Thank you for the opportunity. I'll have to write 2 versions because there's no way you're reading this version, you skeptic bastard. Click play. What is your first memory of Earth? It was the beach at first, but I've since remembered what happened right before. I see. A memory of a memory, left to rot on a backwards planet. I don't envy you. Nor I you. Moving on. Was it a challenge getting off the island? I wasn't marooned on the island so much as I was marooned on Earth. I'm stuck here. That's the challenge. How do you plan to get off Earth? I'm hoping my friends might come for me, but what? It's the one on the left's birthday. According to this paperwork. I think they want to kill me. Is that the female one? Can't you see? Some boobies. I'm going to scroll fast on them. They look the same to me. Can't you see the breasts? The other has breasts too, though, but they are different. They might as well be twins. It's been 4 years since they went into the stasis coffins. They went under at the same time. They were captured together. So they are buddies then. According to this, yes, they are. I wonder if they copulate. Not all human friends do that, you know. They do it in a place called the friend zone. That can't be true. Yes, and on Friendsgiving, they have giant orgies. That's what I heard. Just push the red button. Click. Happy birthday. Rub, 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 rub. Whoosh. Ding. Ding. Cluck, cluck, cluck. Julia, spaceman. First shower in 4 years. They gave us ice cold water. Bring it on, I say. My water was hot. Really? Yeah. And I've got a flat line down below. Is this normal? Hang in there, buddy. You telling me yours works? My vagina? Whoosh! Too bright. Hey, spaceman, don't look now, but we're in the 13th ward. I had forgotten. It's nice to not remember after they wake you up while it lasts. It's true, I'd rather be anywhere but here. Right this way. Any ideas in regards to escape? I'm right here. I could give this guy a swift drop kick. Settle. Spaceman, Julia, welcome. Jeffrey tells me you're both quite frisky. I told him he's just projecting. Time will prove me right how frisky these two are. A mission has come up that will grant one of you your freedom. Ooh, that got your attention. Everyone's here, right? Let's get started. Celio, kill the lights and fire up the projector. Thank you, Celio. It's everyone's favorite shithole planet. I'm setting your watches to Earth time because that's where you'll be headed. We've located the sirens of violence there. I know, great news, right? You will be acting towards the better interests of greater glory for the 13th sponsor. Celio, that's too bright. You're sending us after the sirens? They have quite the reputation. Yes, they are well known as bloodthirsty killers. Our drafting claim grants us a window of exclusivity to act. Sadly, that window is about to expire. Until it does, the 13th sponsor will hold a vested interest in the sirens. These are R-type rifles for purposes of recruitment. I'm deputizing each of you as headhunters in the best interest of to the greater glory for the 13th sponsor. This is new tech since you've been under, so listen up. A projectile from these rifles hijacks the target's spiritual core. You shoot them once, and they become unquestionably open to your influence. Simple as that. Wait, I'm sorry, switch guns. There we go. In addition, Celia will be accompanying you and keeping a direct line with us here at the ward through the Eponea. Nice to meet you. Whoever recruits and brings back more targets of the four for the better interests of glory to the 13th sponsor shall earn their freedom. What if we each get two? Yeah, what if it's a tie? A tiebreaker. This young man, your old comrade no less, goes by WizKid, I'm sure, but you know that. So go for 3 of 5 to win. 3 is all it takes. Earth is a bit of a skip. Good place to lay low, apparently. You'll have about 4 days upon strike down before the exclusivity contract expires. Agents from other sponsors could be afoot, so stay alert. What happens when time's up? Well, that depends. Celia will brief you the rest en route. What is WizKid doing there? He's developed a taste for something called golf. It's a viable path to power on Earth, a pacifist sport. Have you heard of it? Is that the one that's every man for himself and the lowest score wins? That's correct. For the most part, you play against yourself. Figures. Why is that? WizKid never was much for teammates. Then Blowguard, I love my life. You spreading rumors about me, Blowguard? Wait. Crack, smash, no! Huff, 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 huff. WizKid, wink. Huff, huff. Tell him no. The recording device for the interview ran out of batteries. And I can't remember all that crap you said. Ping! Wow, did you see that one, Note? That was quite the shot, Blowguard. It's not like it matters, really. Why not just make it up? Because, ping! Oh my goodness, Note, did you see that one? I missed it. Well, quit looking at your dick, Note. It's 6 inches, just like the rest of us. We all got 6-inch dicks, right, Wiz? I really don't feel like sitting for another interview, Blowguard. Wiz, I haven't been fully transparent with you regarding the purpose and application of these interviews. It all started with a giant space turtle. Many students lined their stories to put one over on me. It was a good LARP, but I didn't find it compelling in the way that I found your interview. That is, your interview in conjunction with one other. I can't explain it, but I believe you, and I believe this other person. And you guys talked about the same things. The sponsors, the Grand Prix, the Eponea, the legendary ship. It could be a matter of interstellar diplomacy. Plus, there's just plain old journalistic integrity. Who else? Who? Oh, yeah. She could possibly help you get off Earth. I know that's what you want. A girl? Are you talking about a group of girls or a lone single girl? Who, Blowguard? A lone single girl, in your terms, as far as I know. Do you suspect one of the all-female cliques at school to be from off Earth? No, are you getting this? I'm on it. I have my own recording of our interview. It's yours if you tell me who. Wait, Wiz, I promised her I wouldn't tell. I'll tell, but you have to promise not to tell her that I told you. The epinea. Pronounced up in the air, but I pronounce it epinea. That's like sort of like a troll, but it's not a misprint. I did it on purpose. I don't know. Celio, is this a suicide mission? It's a beta test for the R-types. The ward doesn't mind if we know that? I'm authorized for honesty. It's no secret your life is at stake. So we don't really know how these things work. Well, that's something I wanted to talk to you about. What? The R-types are capable of one defense charm for a host with a developed affinity. You should use it, otherwise Spaceman could just shoot you with his R-type right away, or vice versa. That would beat a gentleman's agreement. How do I do it? Knock, knock. Hey, how's your little guy doing? Your little wee-wee. Oh, he's good. Back online, tested and ready. I can still get in the mood, though, if you want to. Scooch over. Maybe later. Cool. Like, way later, though. I thought of something strange. What? We've been under these past 4 years, and I guess WizKid's been on Earth. That would make him the same age as us this time. He won't be a little sniper ace pilot escape artist anymore. It's hard to imagine him being in the same league as contenders like the Sirens, enough so that the 13th sponsor would draft him. A lot can happen in 4 years, except in our case. Did Celio tell you about the defense charm? He did. Cool. Who you got? You're betting? They're going to have to each recruit a small army to even have a chance of getting at the Sirens. That's if the R-types even work. They'll work fine. They didn't work on me. I know it. Spaceman will take it if anyone does. We can count on his approach being the simple one. And he's less inhibited by morals. That's my scouting report. Here, check it out. He hands her. That's what they use for money on Earth. They call it plastic. I've heard the term. Is that what you're after? You're more interested in people, if I'm not mistaken. If I win, you sign on. If I win, you sign on with my ward for a 4-year contract. That would normally take a lot of plastic or people. Name your stakes. Match mine. If I win, you let Julia and Spaceman go. Strange bet, fairly high stakes, and your motives aren't exactly clear, but I'm sure you know that. Who's your horse then? What? You can't choose whoever I choose or there'll be no bet. I realize that. So first choice is quite the advantage. Spaceman. Interesting. You can bet on the Sirens, you know. Don't act like you didn't know that's who I was going to pick. Spaceman is generally regarded as the ward's current top agent, it's true. Who do you pick? There's only one option that isn't a conflict of interest, and that's Julia. I choose WizKid. That's the end of issue 1. And then there's 2, but we can't read the beginning of 2 because you don't even know. We can read the beginning of Foreign Agent. I think we will. We'll try and do all 3, just read the beginning. Then maybe we'll get out of here. Crenshaw. Got no time to watch, but I'm going to click that link and go buy some comics. Spoilers. I mean, it's not exactly spoilers. We're starting at the beginning and we're reading it. Okay. Read a little bit of Foreign Agent. Chapter 1. Blustery, whatever, winter, little bunny hopping by. Pop, 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 pop. Crunch, crunch. 2 guys coming up. Crunch, 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 crunch. Crunch, crunch. Come on, we got to keep moving. Just give me a sec. Your ass will go numb and you'll get stuck and freeze. Let's go. Crunch, 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 crunch. August, are we going to die? What? That's no reason to not keep walking. Don't. Crunch, 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 crunch. What else would we shoot? We got to eat. Look. Civilization. Give me the gun. I shoot better than you. Yeah, at animals, maybe. Click. Shall we? They approach the house. Splash. Stay back. And it's this black word bubble. So I'll just tell you guys, but we find out it becomes clear through the context that this is another language. He grabs the photo of the family and hides it in the bed. Clank, clank. He grabs a knife. The two guys are there. No power. We're pretty cold. We're not looking for trouble. Understand? He steps to the side. They go in. Brr, brr. Got any meat? There's nothing outside. You know what we need? Soup. Let's boil some water for a bath. This the bathroom? Deserters. There's a naked boy in there. Whoa, no need for that. No knife. No knife. No trouble. We just want to eat and rest a bit, then we'll be on our way. We come in peace. No trouble, you understand? What's up? Pat the boy on the head for me. Why? Just do it. It's okay, little fella. Won't. We're friendly, see? Come here. Come on. Come, take his knife, Piper. All right. Tell you what. Don't do that, August. It's okay. Click. She's loading her gun as he's unloading his. Trouble a brewing. All right, Piper. What sounds good, you think? Flapjacks? That sounds delicious. Where's the flour? Oh, God, I hope they have eggs. Wait. What do you say? I don't know. I'll do it. Sunset makes the snow red. Piper, I didn't know you tried your hand at poetry. Me again. This is a motif where someone found his journal and wrote notes, little notes to him in his journal. They read a few of them. It's kind of cut to later in the night. They're looking at the map. This much to go. 100 miles. We barely made it 20. We need a horse or two is what we need. I didn't see a stable. A little something there. You got your diary on you? It's a sketchbook, but yeah. What's up? He looks and he sees kind of the cooking apron. He's like, looks out here. He sees the footprints. August? He starts to reload. Clink drops one bullet. Piper, get that knife ready, would you? And come over here. Boom! She barges in. Whew. She aims. Should I turn? Sit tight. He's aiming too. This is a quick storytelling thing too. I pointed this out in the past, but this is a wide angle where the camera is right next to her gun. So the gun actually goes past the camera and gets really big. This is a long angle where the camera is actually far away from him, but zoomed in. So it's actually in the same position. It's like it turned and zoomed. And what it does is it makes his gun and hand, they don't get big. So her gun gets huge, his gun doesn't. And the camera positioning is kind of more on her side. It's kind of like a subliminal storytelling thing. You can control perspective that way to kind of help the storytelling. Peace. We want peace. You shoot my friend, I shoot you. That isn't peace. She's aiming at me. Peace. Isn't that right, Piper? Yeah, peace. They keep saying the same thing. What's going on? Two deserters taking what they want. Should I shoot them? Hey, August, let them talk. It's okay. Don't shoot, not yet. I will keep aiming then. How do we do this? Wham! Aims at the kid. Don't do that. Okay, Piper. Do you have that notebook? I do. Can you draw a picture of this boy with his head blown off? Then draw a circle around it and cross it out. It doesn't have to be detailed as long as we know it's the kid. Scratch, 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 scratch. Done? Almost. Okay, no hurry. Scratch, 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 scratch. Done. Give it to me. Here. He hands it to him. This is the art. Now, this is art within the art, like a comic within the comic, and I did not draw this art. Jared, my buddy from Hotel Story, drew it, but he's like cast as the artist for Piper. So everything that Piper draws is drawn by Jared. And there's one other artist in this story, and they kind of exchange drawings. That's drawn by another artist as well that I hired. kind of cast to have the comic within the comic kind of thing. Hope you did a good job. Hey, me too. He says if you drop the rifle, he won't kill Thomas. Should I do it? Yes. And he looks for the first time. Whoa. Comes and grabs the gun. She's pretty. Cut to later. They're all tied up. I think we'll stop there. This is funny, though. We could keep going. That's not exactly the end of the first issue. But that's the first 29 pages. So you could see this one reads kind of a little faster, a little more minimalist. It's 192 pages. So we just got like 1/6 about through it. And I don't know, that took like 15 minutes or even 10 minutes. So it's like, yeah, you could read this one relatively fast. It feels like a movie if you read it. Jared Fogle? I'm still here. I'm far away from the PC. So that's that one. A classic. I'm very proud of Foreign Agent. Highly recommend anyone who hasn't read it, pick it up. Definitely a classic. And then Nosferatu. Let's read a little bit of this too. Hey, I'm catching up with the chat. People aren't saying much, so we're just going to keep going. Nosferatu, adapted by Narwhal, edited by Blake Worrell. London, England, 1892. Jonathan, what if we just left on an adventure? You could never leave your garden. The forest can be my new garden. The forest is deep and dark. You'd get eaten by a tiger. I would not so. I would charm the beast. My fair skin would blind him. Very well. Then you wouldn't have to work for that awful man, Mr. Renfield. I don't have the heart to tell her. I'll tell her at the beach, at the end, about what happened this morning. You will offer him that house across from yours. He'll like that very much. You stand to make a lot of money. You can buy your wife a new house. You leave right away. Mr. Renfield, I have to say goodbye to Mary. If you must, present that letter to the Count when you see him. Nosferatu. Jonathan, I have the darkest feeling, as if something terrible is going to happen. They are very superstitious over the mountains. It will take a bit of effort, a bit of sweat, and perhaps even a bit of blood. That's taken directly from the movie. The other thing that this comic does that's kind of cool is it's kind of hopping around a little bit, and I kind of added that. It's almost like Tarantino non-linear storytelling. Like he references the beach. He's like, they have a beach walk planned, and he's going to tell her. But he either hasn't told her or he just told her at this point. You see, they did do the beach walk. And then it's kind of flashing back to the flashback here. Perhaps even a bit of blood. And then we cut to later when he's leaving, so hopping around like that is fun. Having multiple locations on one page. This comic, I do a lot of that. I kind of almost learned that a little bit. Before that, I would have been like, every new location, you should make it a page turn. I'm like, no, I love hopping around different scenes on the same page. Kind of like, I think it like really helps with the pacing actually, because the reader can totally follow it. It doesn't confuse them. It makes the pacing feel like a little faster, which is nice. Arthur will take care of you while I'm away. Of course, don't worry, my dear. Jonathan, where I am going, the people are simple. I will be safe, I promise. Click, 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 click. He walks off. Click, 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 click. Goes by the statue. Click, click, click. The other thing I do in Nosferatu that I like is I reuse camera angles. So like this, which is, I think it's kind of like a filmmaking. I'm not the only one to do this, but like this statue and this town square, this is like very minimalist, simply drawn, but this comes up at 2 or 3 other points in the story. And the reader will kind of start to understand, like they get their bearings, they get, what is it called? Oriented. So it helps with the orientation of like just the story in general when you repeat camera angles like that. The glowing peaks of the Carpathian. This is the part with like lots of music in the Werner Herzog version. Then it's dark. He approaches the inn. Boosh! A stranger. Cheers to the stranger. Innkeeper, a meal. And bed, it is late. No, I must keep traveling. Your horse is tired, stranger. My horse can take it. I travel to the castle of Count Orlok. How could anyone say his name with such nonchalance? He must not know. Sir, the pass is dangerous at night. Please stay at a discounted price. I insist. Cut to later. He does kind of take him up. And she walks up. What is it? She's staring at him. You must take this. No, it's precious. I can't accept. Please. She gives it to him. There was a book on the dresser. Out of Belial's seed appeared the vampire Nosferatu, who lives and feeds of human blood. He lives in terrifying caves, tombs, and coffins. These are filled with the goddamned soil from the fields of the Black Death. Poor fools. There was a fire in the night. Wakes him up. The horses. Boom. Burned, crisp horse. You bring foul luck. You must leave back from where you came. I'll buy another horse. I'll pay double. They're all dead. Leave. Then I'll walk. He keeps going. I walked all day and late into the night. Click, 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 click. Do you travel to the castle of Count Orlok? Get in. Pitch black. No point in looking. I closed my eyes and waited. Clunk, 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 clunk. Creak. Hello? Mr. Harker. A thought flashed and was then gone, but I remembered it later, that it was a mistake to come here. The servants are asleep. I will see to your care myself. I'm afraid you will have to dine alone. That's the floor plan to the house. The house is perfect. Have some fruit, my friend. It's ripe and juicy round. How is my English, may I ask? Very good, very polite and formal. It suits you. Mr. Harker, you've cut yourself. So I have. Blood on the floor is dirty. Don't spare a drop. Ah, it's just a remedy, Jonathan. It's just an old remedy, Jonathan. Very old. Clink. Should we not spend a little time together, my dear friend? The sun rises far away, and during the day I have to sleep. A very deep sleep. Mary, I've failed you. Jonathan. In the blackness of midnight, a thought travels as the bat flies, and returns to its source as a measurement. The sun. A dream. Oh, the sun. Mary, my love, writing you calms my nerves, but I don't yet know what to write. I will give this letter to you myself when I return. Show me the contract. What's that? Clink. It's my wife, Mary. What a beautiful neck. It's mine. But, Count, we haven't negotiated a price. It matters not. Jonathan, how long did it take you to travel here? 4 weeks. It's faster by boat, traveling south, if one times the departure correctly. Perhaps we can travel together, my friend. Are you in a hurry? Yes, that would be nice, my friend. Mary, the prospect of leaving puts me in such a good mood. Perhaps it was just a dream. He is just old and a little strange. The gypsy's book. During the night, Nosferatu clutches his victims and sucks their blood like a gruesome, life-saving drink. Beware so that his shadow cannot burden your sleep with terrible nightmares. Mary? She's walking. Lucy, I need a doctor. Jonathan, hold her. Nosferatu had spread his wings. He's holding down Jonathan. That's the end of first issue of that. Does this mean you have an eBay store? Yeah, that's what we've been talking about the whole time. I guess a guy in his room, you must have missed the beginning. But I think it's pinned to the top, the link. Let me see if I can. So this is it. And I don't know how many, it's not updating the total sales But we sold a lot. Well, yeah, like 8 or something. So that'll be like 10 or whatever now. But yeah, you can pick up a lot of stuff here. Some stuff might have sold out even, but still some good pickups, good possibilities. Foreign Agent, the original trilogy is like a great possibility to pick up. So like Foreign Agent, Nosferatu hardcover, Earthbound hardcover, Earthbound soft cover. Here's soft covers. So both those, 1 and 2, highly recommended. Cool. Cool. So that kind of wraps up the stream a little bit. So what? In conclusion, 7 years of working on comics, lots of books, a debut trilogy that's really fun and cool and fun to own. So get yourself a copy. And then kind of a developing fan base that we're calling the Nards. So if you're a Narwhal fan, a true Narwhal fan, you're a Nard. And the Nards give the Nuge often. So the Nard Nuge, yeah. And then a little bit of a path going forward is just some of the kind of the term that Ethan used, be undeniable. Got some undeniable stuff coming out. Continue to push that, try and break more and more mainstream, pushing a little bit into other mediums, animation, video games, movies. This is the future. But definitely just kind of help spread the word of mouth with positivity and yeah, just letting people know that you love these books. If you've read them, let people know, because people do listen and they do hear. If and that I don't know. There's like things like, well, so like take just for example, like Foreign Agent or whatever. Like I'm definitely really proud of this book, and to me, it's kind of like perfect. Someone could come along and they could criticize it, but I know because to me, it like sometimes there's like a piece that comes like I actually know it's perfect, and and I don't know, like there it kind of puts, yeah, like if anyone even were to criticize it, they might even know like sometimes criticism can almost be like a compliment if it's like kind of weird criticism that seems wrong. People make it might make people want to read the book more or something. Um, so I don't know where I was going with that exactly, but just that it's it I don't know. It's like gravity a little bit. Like these books can only get more famous. They can't really get less famous. It's not like we're hiding the truth, and the truth is that they actually suck, and we're just waiting for the ball to drop, and then they're gonna disappear into obscurity. It's like no, the truth is these are freaking classics, and it's only gonna spread more, and people are gonna realize more. They do hit big level ups if it hits like kind of an influencer, and then they actually do kind of say it or whatever. But I don't know. It's a little bit, there is like a little bit of peace that comes with that, knowing like you're putting out, for me it's like putting out, I don't know, like a really, so even just the word even of it being complete. Like I love that Foreign Agent is a complete story. It's kind of like a movie. If it was a movie, it would be a great movie. It wouldn't be like a bad movie. Like it'd be great. It'd be a classic. You would compare it with like frickin' Tarantino or Stanley Kubrick or whatever. Best. Those guys are like the best ever. And I will be able to make movies sooner or later. I'm working on it. We'll get up there. But the first one might suck. But I'll make a good movie sooner or later, I think. God willing. Hopefully, we'll see. But same with Earthbound. Like I feel like I'm just really pumped on these two books put together. Feel like such a fun, complete story that I'm really proud of. And there's a level of peace that comes just knowing that the gravity is going up rather than down for a lot of these. Citizen Kane, straight up, dude. No, I don't know. 656 guys got theirs into shops. Yeah, I might want to try and talk to them a little more and look into that, figure that out. Like what you're doing, you should break into the mainstream. Maybe get your books into shops. Yeah, yeah. Richard says 10 orders so far. Yeah, thanks everyone. That's awesome. Getting some good business up in here. And what else? What else? The last thing is Hotel Story, still available for another month or two. 252 backers so far. I would love to see it get to like 400, 500, in that zone. We'll see if we can get that high, but definitely want to get some readers on this board on board. This one, for all my books right now, this is the one that I would most want to see as a movie. Because it's the most like it's the most simple and sense of its own identity as like a horror story. Like, because Earthbound's like a little weird, it's a little mishmash. You don't even know what it is sometimes, which is kind of fun. But this one is like the simplicity is really nice and it translates to movies really well. So this is one I can definitely visualize as being a really fun movie. And we might try and do that eventually, me and Jared too. But yeah, we're working on stuff. We're writing 2 other scripts right now, and I'm like super pumped on both of them. Richard says, movie or animation? It could be either. But I kind of picture it as animation, I guess. But animated movies of your books? I mean, I do want to do that, but I don't know exactly how. It's a little bit to be revealed in the next few years. But me and Jared are working on like a short film right now, and then we might try and figure out a way to work on a longer project. The guy in his room. It's a big relief seeing a story like this. For a while, I didn't get CG comics because they seemed too hard to get. Yeah, thanks, the guy in his room. Cool. I know it does feel like a good step. And for now, too, it's like it's out there for anyone who ever asked the question of like, can I catch up on some Narwhal? There's an answer. You guys can help me spread that too. If you see someone else ask, just tell them. You don't even need to tell me. And so we'll just let people be aware, like this is how you catch up on Narwhal if you want to. And yeah, was I going to say one other thing about it? Oh, and it lets me measure demand a little bit. Like if one of these sells out, like if Foreign Agent sells out, I'm like, okay, cool. Still some Foreign Agent though. That's another one. Like it's actually because it got a really great review from your boy Zach, and then it was offered on as a bonus on the 499 campaign, and I think it sold like 500. That's like now like Hotel Story kind of will be lucky if it gets 500 copies, and that's like the main campaign. Foreign Agent back in the day did 500 sales just as the bonus book on 499, and then the campaign before that was like 600 or 700, and then I had more. So yeah, it keeps getting sales constantly. It's up to like 1,200 or so, I think, total right now. And Earthbound's floating around there. I don't know if I've had anything hit 2,000 yet. It would be really cool to hit that sooner or later. Richard Russo says, follow the store. It helps with searches. Yeah, so click on follow if you can. And yeah, this button. Save seller, followers. You can list eBay books on CG now. Maybe I'll do that. Get on a little cross promotion on that. Spread the good news of Narwhal. Get Kenneth Branagh with his comedy mustache. But yeah, CG now. It's the Nards. So you guys are Nards, just so you know. 23 Nards in the chat. We're giving the nooge. The Nards give the nooge. You seek the pad. The Nards seek the pad and give the nooge. This is what we do. And we are embracing it. We are not ashamed. We embrace. By someone Earthbound for Christmas. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good one. It's classic. What I don't know, Earthbound. I didn't go over it this stream. I thought about doing it, but Earthbound, a few of them, Earthbound, Foreign Agent, Nosferatu. Those are the ones I'm kind of focusing on. They have gotten like good reviews that have had like quotable takeaways that I could use for like marketing or whatever. Where sometimes it's like I sometimes I think of it as like hyperbolic praise, but it's different than if they say like, yeah, it's pretty good, it's good, it's great, it's great, I liked it, loved it. Like there's that, and then there's people being like, this is the best book I've ever read. Some people say that about Earthbound, and then Foreign Agent even too. People say that. Nosferatu, nobody said that yet, but people say book of 2022. A bunch of people told me that. A bunch of people said it's super inspirational. But part of that's funny is the way that it's inspirational is they read it and they love it and see how effective it is while being kind of minimalist. And then they go, I can do this. This isn't crazy. This isn't like amazing art that I can't do. They're like, I could do this. And then so a few people reached out to me, told me that. They're like, it was so inspirational. I'm like, oh, dude, badass. Stoked. Stoked, stoked, stoked. Yeah. Got a few quotes from Mark Miller. Mark Miller, for the shorts compendium, he read Robozan and he said, you're absolutely the best storyteller in comics right now, which is ridiculous, but whatever. That's the way it goes. It's funny. I can look at other writers. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's not even like the best writer. It's the best storyteller, which is kind of just, it's a little different. Probably not the best writer, but the best storyteller. Yes, 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 yes. Of course, I'll take it. I don't even get what do you call imposter syndrome about that shit anymore. I would have back in the day. That's the other thing that's happened over 7 years. Shit went straight to my head. No more imposter syndrome. We taking the world by storm, baby. You guys are helping me. The Nards are going for it. Stand with me, Nards, as we take the comic industry. What I was going to say one thing along those lines. While we're on the subject of trying to pump the Nards up to take the comic industry, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, so there's a line. It's kind of like your boy Zach will sometimes say this. Mark Miller will say this. Perch will say this, but a lot of them say like to save the comic industry, you have to get the old pros to come back and whatever, and then you save it. If the old legends come back, you'll save the industry. That's what they all say. I'm like, no, 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 no. You want to save the industry? You come to old Narwhal right here. Narwhal will show you how to do it. Narwhal will save it for you for the price, for the right price. Narwhal will save the industry for you, but only for the right price, my friend. It will only cost you $1 billion. Something like that. Nosferatu is the greatest comic adaptation of F.W. Murnau movie I've ever read. See, I would put that on the back. Richard, thanks. One for one. It's 1 out of 1. Out of the one possibilities to win that award, I win. Also, what else is in the retrospective is snubbed by the Eisners a few times, but for Nosferatu and Foreign Agent. But they then went on to win the Narwhal Award, which is nice. The Narwhal Awards now they're like best writer besides me, best book besides mine, best artist besides me. Those are the Narwhal Awards, and I give them to my friends. So this year, the Narwhal Award for best writer besides me goes to, and they're a little political. Like they're corrupt too. The Narwhal Awards are, but it goes to Nasser. Nasser gets best writer besides me. I would, honorable mention, and I would want to put Vaughn on there. But it's political, like I say. It doesn't mean that Nasser's better than Vaughn. In fact, probably not true. But because of political reasons, Nasser wins the first Narwhal Writing Award, best writer besides me. Best artist besides me, I don't even know. Well, I'll decide. I'll announce the winners of the Narwhal Awards 2023 sooner or later. Whatever happened to Narwhal Fitness? I've been working out, but I haven't been, really filming it. I've been actually going to the gym. So I've been actually a little more serious and steady with it, which is nice. Only a couple months now, but I've been chugging eggs. Maybe I could film myself chugging eggs. Are the eggs I drink called Nards? Those are the representatives of the Narwhal fan base. The unification ceremony. Alchemy. Become one with the fans. Narwhal represents his fan base by chugging 2 eggs every morning. The Nards. The Nards give the Nuge, and books will see the future presented to the mainstream. With the Nard Nuge coming at you 2024 from Narwhal Comics. Join the Nards, seek the pad. This is my pad right here. So pilgrimage to the pad to seek the pad to give the Nard Nuge. You can cook eggs, you don't have to eat them raw. Yeah, I know. Close the windows, bro. No, I took off my coat. I'm not even that cold right now. I'm just being comfy. I do have a heater. I was running it earlier. I turned it off for the moment. Leo Schultz, the first loser awards. Yeah. Cool teen. Has cancel culture, comics gate stuff gate kept you yet, or will it? Well, that was like, so what? Who is Jetto Jaga? He says, he claims that, which is another. This is a funny quote, but he claims Earthbound started the Iron Age, and the reason being because that it's the first indie comic of someone who didn't even get a chance, like, because there's all these people that were kind of kicked out or whatever, all these pros that, yeah, they continue doing what they're doing then in the indie sphere, but there's an unknown element of like, what would it even been like some people are not even getting a chance to even start, and then they're getting their chance through indies, and that's like me, Vaughn, Clint Stoker, Mandy. So there's people like that too. And Earthbound was kind of one of the first of those on the scene, and the first good ones, kind of, because there's, I mean, they're all good, but that was like good and first and legendary, maybe you might say, perhaps. And so in that sense, I did already get effed by him. I've had a chip on my shoulder the whole time. The other thing, I sometimes get the compliment. This happened with Earthbound too. People will be like, "Oh man, if this came out 20 years ago when the industry wasn't dead, it would be like everyone would be talking about it and you'd be famous or something." And I'm like, "That's nice, but that also bums me out." But that's not even necessarily true. But then, yeah, I've even, it has been a little weird, but the problem now is the industry is in such shambles. There's not exactly gatekeeping because there's no even thing to break into. So it's like, oh, could I like maybe get in touch with Dynamite because they're not exactly cancel culture? Then I could like, yeah, get published, but you wouldn't really make money. It is, I mean, it would be nice to maybe get a freaking $1 billion Netflix deal and run a media empire like Mark Miller. But he worked for 20 years building his stuff before that even happened. I'm only 7 years in, so um, yeah. So yep. Seeing what's up over here. Cool. I think I'm wrapping up though. We made it 2 hours, pretty straight through. Thanks for being here. 26 people watching. Pretty fun to launch the eBay store. Pretty stoked. But yeah, some good ones. Cerberus, Grand Prix, anything you missed, you can get it here. And in some collectibles, hardcovers. And if you follow the shop, and if you see anyone wondering about where to pick up Narwhal, send them this way. And yeah, we'll spread the word. The Nards will spread the word of the Nuge, if you don't mind. Maybe, I don't know if that'll stick. It's a little ridiculous, but whatever. Cool. Next stream with Irene. Yeah, we're doing Creative Block tomorrow. Captain Goodnight just picked up Foreign Agent. Thanks, Captain Goodnight. Stoked, man. I wonder if that means we have 11 sales now. We're getting them sales up in here. Thanks, everyone. And yeah, I think I'm going to end the stream. I'll be back. Oh, I'm going to be back pretty quickly, actually, for one quick promo stream tonight with Edwin the Ace. And then I'll be off, and they'll be on Jake's channel for Creative Block with Irene and Phil and Jake tomorrow. And then I'm just kind of chipping away at stuff, working on this and that. I'll do a streamed update, something like that, because I do kind of want to keep you guys abreast of some shit I'm working on. It's all pretty fun. Percival, pretty stoked on Percival. I want to talk about it. But yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye. I clicked the button any second.